Hello, my name is Teilhaber, and it is my pleasure to talk to you today about euthanasia. Euthanasia is a painless death that is also known as mercy killing. The current controversy of euthanasia is one that has many questions as well as concerns. Many misleading claims concerning euthanasia have been tossed around. People who support euthanasia argue that people have the right to end their own lives, and in many cases, euthanasia offers a better alternative to dying a slow, painful death. Some people even go as far to say that euthanasia is a way to die with dignity. These arguments are morally irresponsible as well as ignorant. Society does not and will never bestow the right to decide whose lives are worthy of saving or to be eliminated. The main point I would like to get across today is that legalization around the world would be unpractical and unethical. This practice should be illegal all around the world. Each life is precious, and we should do our best to save each one. I have had many close family members die, and they died naturally, and it was already hard like that. I believe that we should live as long as we can to our fullest. You never know when the next cure will be found. Today I will talk to you about how euthanasia would not be an ideal concept to legalize for several reasons, mainly due to a psychological aspect, slippery slope argument, and religious factors. First thing I'm going to talk about is how there's a huge difference between psychological illnesses and physical health illnesses. We are all just human. Any person, no matter who you are, can develop a psychological disorder. It is common especially in teenagers, specifically depression. The article entitled "Depression, Not Pain, Main Reasons Patients Request Euthanasia," written by Ann McTavish, explains how common it is for patients to request painless death, because they feel so low. This article was published by Troy Media in 2012. Many people euthanize even when they are not physically ill. They choose to be taken away because they feel emotionally helpless. Recent studies state that it is not physical pain that's driving people to end their lives, as is so often assumed. It is psychological pain. This is taking advantage of the legalization of euthanasia. The problem with this is that patients are able to lie to doctors and request a painless death, while there are patients who are truly suffering of physical illnesses. They can easily lead into a slippery slope. The slippery slope is a well-known argument that generally states if we allow something relatively harmless today, we may start a trend that results in something currently unthinkable becoming accepted. In this case, if we allow euthanasia to become legal, we may or may not be able to keep it under control. There was an article written by David Benader called "A Legal Right to Die," responding to a slippery slope and abuse arguments. It was published in October 2011 by Current Ontology. It clearly explains how allowing voluntary euthanasia will make it much easier to commit murder or suicide, since the executors can disguise their actions as voluntary euthanasia. Those who suffer from depression are simply crying for help and assume death is the best way to make it disappear. It is the leading cause in death today and is a type of illness that can be easily treated, therefore should not be a result of euthanasia. There is a huge difference between killing people and those who ask for death under circumstances and killing people without their permission. Very few people are lacking in intellect that they cannot make the distinction between the two. The next thing I want to talk about is religion. Religion is a huge aspect in many people's eyes. Being religious has the ability to change lives. It gives you faith along with something to believe in and something to look forward to. Dr. H. Robert C. Pankratz and Dr. Richard M. Welsh wrote an article called "Christian Response to Euthanasia" that was published in U-Turn by the King's Community Church and was last updated in 2011. It discusses that human life is sacred. This is because we are gifts from God, so ending our life before He is ready for us to would be morally wrong. Religious people argue that we cannot kill ourselves or get others to do it. It is wrong for people to go against the free will that God has given us. Another thing is the expression, "everything happens for a reason." Everyone has heard that. Deuteronomy states, that there is no God besides me. I put to death and I bring to life. There are so many reasons why you're being put through hardship. Maybe you got sick and God wanted you to realize that life is precious. It is worth waiting to find the cure. God does not put you through pain for nothing, and He always has a reason. Maybe He is putting you through the feeling of being sad or feeling burdened because He wants you to find out more about yourself, that you are a strong person and can push through any hardship that comes your way. It is important to understand that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. It is also imperative that you realize that you were put on earth for a certain reason. Euthanasia should never be the answer. We are all creations of God, and euthanasia would be denying Him. For all of these reasons that I've given, there are solutions. So the first solution that I want to give to you today is that for every psychological illness, there is a cure. For everyone listening that has ever been depressed or felt like a burden, have you ever stopped to realize that you've made it? You've pushed through a battle from when you hit a literal rock bottom. If more people tried to open up to a doctor or even someone just close to you, they could feel more comforted, or you could get on a medication and it could help. An article called Suicide Awareness Voices of Education states that 80% of people that seek treatment for depression are treated successfully, and 15% of those who are clinically depressed and don't seek help die by suicide. This article was published by SAVE in 2013. If we were to have euthanasia legal in all states, we must be fully aware of the slippery slope. We have to realize the difference between voluntary and involuntary euthanasia, or else it could turn into murder. Boundaries and separate laws must be set for patients to follow. The main source of evidence of all of this comes from an article that was written in the Netherlands, and it was called The Empirical Slippery Slope by Penny Lewis. It was published by Mesh Terms in 2007. The goal is to get others to realize that it is very possible for them. Suicide typically does not occur after a thorough or rational decision. Numerous people who choose euthanasia are choosing the easier route, rather than seeking help from a psychiatrist. Laws must be set for doctors and patients, and should be a long process for euthanasia, and if it were ever become legal. There are plenty of health centers to attend on your local area, or even on a college campus, so solutions are definitely possible. Lastly, when all else fails, you can always turn to God. He is always there for you and will always love you. Turning to God is something special and is always a comfort zone. Dr. H. and Dr. Robert C. Pankratz, as well as Dr. Richard M. Welsh, suggest that you should go to religious services. These can help you pray, and they suggest that you should keep educating yourself through the Bible or the Torah or any other books you may study. Also, they encourage you to understand why you're given time here. Another thing is to support doctors. You should always have the faith that doctors have the knowledge and the perseverance to find the cure. Put faith in doctors and don't undermine their knowledge and talents. Understand God's wisdom. Encouraging euthanasia will discourage the search for new cures and treatments for the terminally ill. Once you discover your life's purpose and your strength, you will realize that it is wrong to go against God. Get involved in your religious community. Even the town I live in, there is a church or a synagogue on almost every single corner. If doctors are given a chance, you will see it is worth the wait versus giving up. Just to wrap it up, we should not turn to others or ourselves to end lives just because it seems like it's the easier way to end our problems and sufferings. People should never take lives away due to any type of hardship they are going through, whether it is emotional or physical. There is likely a way to solve these issues, such as therapy or pain medication, religion, and cures that are being found currently today. Euthanasia is primarily associated with old age. However, it often enters the thoughts and minds of young patients as well. Although it is legal in some American states, Numerous doctors still oppose this topic. Euthanasia is wrong in several ways. Consequences could be the slippery slope, lost lives that potentially could be saved, effects on friends and family, faith fading away, and doctors eventually losing business. If we do not make this legal, we could be affected positively in keeping hope for those who are suffering. Doctors will keep researching and looking for cures, and they'll also be able to keep their steady jobs, and faith will always remain strong. As human beings, we must be patient and remain hopeful for a positive outcome. When the time comes, we will be taken away naturally. Thank you, and I hope that you will get involved in any debates and support the idea of euthanasia being illegal all around the world. Thank you.